An example of one of the finest coupes of the 1990s is just here. Sorry Gav, had to be done.
Hello, welcome back to the Rubbish YouTube channel. You join me on what is actually a stonking day. I'm not sure if anyone's used the word stonking to describe the weather before, but in my book stonking means hot. Very little wind, although I'm sure the small amount of wind today is probably coming up loud and clear on the microphone, so apologies for that. And the kind of day where you just want to sit in a paddock, or if you're Theresa May, run through a cornfield like the rebel that you are, which I suppose is quite apt because I'm walking through a paddock, and I have to say, with apologies to Julie Andrews, one of my favourite things is a cut pathway through long grass. I have a big thing about that. I just think it's really lovely. But then I'm sad. Anyway, we are here not to talk about green woodpeckers, hot goats. There are very, excuse me, there are some very hot goats in the goat shelter. If you're a goat, it's either too hot, too cold, or too wet. It's never just right. It's never, on a Goldilocks scale, it's never just right. We're not here to talk about goats or anything like that. We're here to talk about W227 RCC. It's got very windy all of a sudden. It's typical, isn't it? I apologise. Hopefully that'll die down and normal service will be resumed. But let's just have a look at this magnificent beast. Look at it. Beautiful, isn't it? What I have to say before we get any further is an apology to three people. A friend of the show, Kenny Smith, for getting in touch back in February to tell me about the availability of this car. His friend, John the Wall, and apologies, John, if I get your surname, if I pronounce your surname incorrectly, but using the former Coronation Street actress and recent star of the Post Office drama, Julie Hesmond-Howell, I believe your surname is Greenhow. Real apologies if I've got that wrong, John the Wall. Nothing personal. I've just only seen your name written down, never heard it in the spoken voice. And also previous owner John, for entrusting me with. He obviously didn't know my reputation or my previous exploits with VMX, as in the other 406 Coupe. Yes, I now have two broken 406 Coupes. Come back to that in a minute because there is a reason why. It's taken me far too long, and it's personally quite annoying as well, because I wanted to do the big reveal and the discovery video, not the discovery as in my son's discovery, but the discover all of its strengths and weaknesses video together. So aside from driving it up here, which is about a fifth of a mile, and aside from the time when friend of the show Adam White and my brother-in-law came down to stay, we had a little play around with it, which literally just start it up, move it a couple of yards and put it back again. It has remained motionless, sat here. The good news is the weather's been pretty good, so it hasn't got sort of drenched and covered in Dartmoor weather. But I just haven't got near it. I haven't got near any of the fleet. So big apologies, please forgive me, as Brian Adams once said. We're now on the case. Let's go through the gate and get closer to the Shed of Tears. That should be forget Autobahn. I think Shed of Tears is more appropriate. Let's close the gate. I'm going to sit down here a minute because this little spot here, somebody has actually commented on one of my videos saying I don't get to the point quick enough, and you're right, correct, I don't. Guilty as charged, just me. I do apologise. I don't get to the point. I don't think I ever get to the point. I don't think I'm quick enough. Anyway, I remember being sat here. You could exchange this photo or this picture here, the car parked here with VMX, not BMX, the silver 406 Coupe. I remember being sat here for a good 5 minutes, just looking at it, thinking, you've beaten me, because the amount of times I spent a day on this car, maybe an afternoon or a morning, and nothing would go right. And it's why I called it the Paula Abdul of cars. And I swore to myself. I didn't swear to myself. I always tell my children not to swear. God, I digress, don't I? I sort of promised myself I would never do a 406 Coupe again. It constantly fought back. And the other thing is it's broken, which is the reason why this is here. Let me get up because it's boring for you, even more boring than it normally is. Because back in February, Kenny Smith, please forgive me again while I just wander around talking. Kenny Smith got in touch on Instagram and said, this has popped up on Facebook, on a Facebook community group up in the Merseyside, I think it was Warrington, and it was advertised, basically, it's going to be scrapped, or 300 quid takes it. And he said he'd like it, but he didn't have the time or space for it. Would I be interested? My immediate reaction was no, because nobody needs another broken 406 Coupe. But then I thought, at the time, I was looking for a manual gearbox for the 406 Coupe. And I thought, well, actually, for the same price as the 406, for a manual gearbox on eBay, I could have an entire car. So the original plan was, buy this, strip out the gearbox and everything to go with the gearbox, the ECU, etc. Find all the best spares and scrap the rest. Cutting a long story short, because that's the big news, by the way, it's got a manual gearbox, which is huge. Cutting a long story short, and to borrow a phrase from a well-known car sticker which you can buy from the club shop, I think it's too good to scrap, and Kenny Smith agrees. And I think it deserves better than to become a donor vehicle. And actually, I didn't even know because this is a later, by the way, even though there's only 4 months separating this 406 Coupe with my other one, this has got the later 210 brake horsepower engine, the one tweaked by Porsche, etc. So this has got 16 extra horsepower. So I didn't even know if the manual gearbox from the 210 brake would be a straight fit in the earlier V6. Probably is, I don't know. Didn't even get that far because I thought, no. Best thing to do, like the best of both worlds, is to fix the automatic transmission in the other one. Hello, anybody who'd like to take that job on, because I can't find anybody in the West Country. I can't find anyone west of Bristol who wants to take that on. Please, if you've got any experience in fixing or even transplanting a new transmission in a 406 Coupe, get in touch, because I really want to get that moving again. So I got the best of both worlds. I got a manual gearbox and one with an auto box. So the chances are this will live again. Now, I'm opening the door because I know it's going to be hotter than the sun in there in a minute. It's going to bite back. There's going to be problems along the way. And at the very least, by the way, this is the first detailed walkthrough of the car. I've kept my promise. This is the first time I've really stood here and spent longer than 5 minutes with this car. The first thing you'll see, it's got a full set of Michelins, which is always a good sign on a car. Obviously, they're completely buggered, for want of a better word, so they will need replacing. But I might be able to scrape an MOT with them, even though they're really old. But no, they're going to need doing at some point. But I'm slightly encouraged by the fact that it's got 4 Michelin Primacy tyres on it. It's always a good sign. And it's been off the road since at least 2018. That's when the last MOT ran out. So it's been off the road 6 years, which is never a good thing. But if you look on Google Street View, and also the photos I got from Kenny shows that it's been parked on a hard surface, which is always a positive sign. So let's walk around the car. So we know it's going to need a full set of tyres. And the elephant in the room is obviously the lack appeal, significant lack appeal on the bonnet. Now, service history and notes from Kenny would tell me that it's had a small bit of damage on the front. It's been to a body shop. So it's had a new wing and new bonnet. And obviously the paint quality wasn't great and water's got underneath the lacquer and it's caused that. Some of that's going to come up. I mean, I'm looking forward to getting this cleaner than it already is. It's going to need 2 wiper blades. Never know, that could be the only thing it needs to get for an MOT. That would be fantastic. I mean, if I can get this to immediately with a full set of tyres and some new wiper blades and a quick sort of basic service, and then do it as a rolling project, that would be a dream world for me for this summer. I'd love that. I'd absolutely love that. There you go. It's going to need a good old clean. Some lacquer peel on the rear bumper. That was my knees clicking, by the way, apologies. Some definite lacquer peel on the bumper, and it's obviously had maybe hit a bollard, maybe a tow bar or something got into it. but I reckon it's had a resprayed bumper at some point. They're not the original number plates. But, unlike the silver one, NMX, the exhaust actually fits. And you can just see where it's been parked against the shed of tears, where the temperate rainforest is having an effect on the bodywork. So we'll be bringing a hose. Yeah, you can see actually that's a different colour. I don't know if it's coming up on the video, but that's had a respray and it's not the right colour. But I don't care. And actually, a small part of me at the moment would just love to run this for a year with the bodywork the way it is, just to experience it. I didn't get to experience the silver one before it had its hissy fit, and many hissy fits along the way. But the big hissy fit now is the fact that the transmission doesn't want to play ball. One day it's fine, the next day you can't guarantee you're going to get anywhere. So anyway, so did I do a plea for help? Please, if you want to help me with my 406 Coupe transmission, please, because a couple of people have advised me don't do it yourself. Seek specialist help. Should we start her up, as Mick Jagger said? By the way, do you want to look at the interior? So it's on 131,000, I think. It's a similar mileage to the silver one, maybe a bit less. I think it's on 138, 139. And the interior looks all together. It's got a rip here. Strange place for a rip. But again, not particularly worried about that at the moment. All I'm worried about is the mechanicals. It's going to need a complete brake rebuild, which was fun. That was a really good job doing that on the old one. There we go. I mean, standard stuff. No mould, so no sign. I mean, bear in mind it's been outside here for 4 months. No water ingress, which is really good. Actually, there's a little bit of mould on the headline in there, to be expected. But there's no damp, nothing underneath. Well, I say that, I haven't actually checked. But it doesn't smell damp. You can always tell a car when it's been damp. Who knows what discoveries we might make. Ski hatch. No skis. Maybe the eagle's not in there. Cup holder. Cup holder and storage. All present and correct. I think that rear parcel shelf, I mean it's not really a parcel shelf, is it? The rear shelf has faded in the sun, as they all do. Oh, it's got a first aid kit in there. It's good, unlike the other one. This seems to be intact. Interior light works. I haven't tried the radio. We'll do that in a second. I'll tell you what, I'm sweating buckets in here. God, that's not a nice thing. There we go, let's wait for the seats to go back. This is fun. I've actually missed doing this sort of stuff. By the way, big shout out to Amy of Car to Go, who delivered the car to me. She's delivered 3 cars to me now, and she's brilliant. She's based in Exeter, but she operates all over the country, and honestly, she's a pro and a car fan. So check her out. I'll put the details in the description below. Okay, fuel level low. John, the previous owner, did put a bit of fuel in. Not a lot, but enough. It's saying the oil level's a bit low and it's due a service. And the airbag lights flashing. It could be because, well, when it arrived, he did charge the battery, John. Thank you for doing that. It didn't last long. The battery's not holding its charge. So that's now become an electric fence charging point. And it's now got a fun-sized battery in there. So I think with a new battery, that might turn off some of the warning lights. Famous last words. Let's fire her up. There's a slight drag on the starter motor, so I think that's lack of use. But I have to say, in the very short drive from the other end of the paddock to the barn, or the shed of tears as they're now known, it drives sweet. It drives sweet. It's so much tighter than the silver one. Oh, it does need a new gear knob. Well, it's French, they all do that, sir. So it's going to need one of those. Don't know if it's been smoked in or not. Let's have a look. It hasn't. I'm trying to focus it for your benefit. I can see it hasn't. Focusing's all up off the creek, isn't it? It's like my new little furry friend. Yeah, great. That's the only way I can get the Anyway, that's boring. Let's try the aircon. Apologies for this. Is gonna if you're listening on headphones, bear with me. Oh. Instant cool. That's lovely. Yeah, 38 degrees. Not sure about that. It does feel like that in here. See, I've still got the engine management light, and I've still got the airbag light. Let's turn that off. Always get that wrong. Turn that off. So I'll swelter while you enjoy a better sound experience. Is it going to need a code? No. Oh, well, that works. No CD. That's fair enough. I'm getting out because it's hot. This is always dodgy, as you'll know from my previous videos, testing windows and sunroofs. So let's test the window. And you can probably hear the squeak. What you couldn't hear was the what you couldn't feel was the vibration as well. Well, it's auto and it works. So it's also got a aftermarket digital radio. I say upgrade. I don't know if that's an upgrade having that on the windscreen, but who knows? If you can hear the engine, otherwise it's clever a blip. I mean, weirdly, although the silver one had, effectively, well, it was only one owner and full service history, this one feels immediately tighter, and that could be because of the manual gearbox, but it feels really nice. Let's just see if the front fog lights work. These things matter on this channel. On other channels, maybe not. Do the front fog lights work? Yes, they do. What a magnificent sight that is. It's beautiful, isn't it? I have to say, just spending some time with it, what has it been, 20 minutes? Spending some time with this car has made me feel very happy. But the fact that she moves, well, Kenny proved that she moved from when he did the... And by the way, Kenny, you were brilliant. The groundwork he did and the research he did and the kind of investigations he did for me were outstanding, and this wouldn't be here without him. So Kenny, really, really big thanks. And you, John the Wall. Couldn't do it without you. Also comes with some spares. One bag of spares. See the auto changer in there. Spare wheel and gubbins. It's a good word, gubbins, isn't it? Gubbins. In there. And the standard bit of grime that I'm actually looking forward to cleaning out. Didn't actually test if this window goes down. Quicker than the other one, and just as many squeaks. Bit of use on there, I reckon that will solve that. Ticking over nicely, isn't she? Let me open the bonnet up. If I remember from when I first got her and I had to charge a battery, because like I say, the battery wasn't holding its charge at all. The struts have gone. Yeah, the struts aren't holding it up very well. So as you can see, it's the later 210 brake horsepower engine, ticking over very nicely. And there's a fun-sized battery. Though obviously I'm going to need a new battery. Standard play. But do you know what? It's really nice to finally do the reveal, so I can actually crack on with it now. Yeah, I reckon a couple of wide plays should be right as rain. So the big reveal's done. It's taken me 22 minutes, so God knows if anyone's ever going to watch this video. But like I say, at the moment, too good to scrap. Famous last words, eh? Ooh, do you know what? I'm buzzing. Might not sound like it, but I'm actually buzzing. Thanks for watching. Take care.
And there it goes, from one enthusiast to another. Back to you, Gavin.